And we are all set to begin with today's webinar. A very warm welcome to all our participants present here today. Career Track is a self-help approach to talent management that focuses on development of an individual's career. It is a proactive approach that encourages individuals to take ownership of their careers by identifying their skills, interests, and goals, and then mapping out a plan to achieve them. Career Track can be used by individuals as well as organizations to help employees develop their careers. By encouraging employees to take ownership of their careers and providing them with the resources they need to do so, organization can increase employee engagement, retention, and productivity. HRAI welcomes you all to the 2022 Dialogue Masterclass series. To know more about HRA and its events, I would request all our participants to visit the link and details posted in the chat window. To know more about HRA and its events, I would request our participants to visit the link and details posted in the chat window. It would be great to have all the participants' feedback. We will be running a poll before the Q&A session. I request all participants to kindly give your feedback on the session. I now take the privilege to introduce our esteemed speaker for today, Mr. Ramakrishna Rao, Head of Learning and Development, Page Industries Limited. Ramakrishna Rao is a seasoned learning and organization development leader with more than 16 years of experience across IT, ITES, retail, and consumer product sectors. He currently is the Chief Learning Officer for Page Industries, Jockey India, being a certified and practicing coach known as Coach Ram in the social media circuit. He blogs regularly on LinkedIn and is known for his insightful posts and book summaries on personal effectiveness, talent management, leadership development, and career building. His newsletter, Career Track on LinkedIn, is one of the most followed ones. You can follow him on LinkedIn. The link for the same has been shared in the chat window. Without wasting much time, I now hand over the platform to Mr. Ram. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Faisal. Thank you, HRAI. It's great. I think I've been part of an earlier master series as well. So this is my second event. It was a good interaction that I had last time. So hoping for a similar interaction this time. I can see about 32 of us logged in. So good to, and I would like this session to be interactive, right? More number of you, if you can switch on your camera, the better, so that I can see and interact with people. That will be more lively and engaging, right? So I request if some of you can switch on your camera, it will be very good for a engaging interactive session. Okay, hi Yasser, good to see you. Hi. Okay, just giving a few more seconds to see if few others will switch on their cameras. Hi Deep, you're on mute, but I can hear you. Yeah. Any more who would like to switch on their camera? Okay, great. So if you can put in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and speak, briefly sharing the number of years of experience that you have, just for me to get an idea of what's the tenure and of the group that I'm interacting with. Nisha says 7. Okay. Yasser 10. Okay. 10, 9, 6. Okay, I hope I can get better responses on chat or even voice. You can unmute yourself and just speak out. Okay. Neha 8. Thank you, Neha. Few more. Because if I go on a monologue, it will be totally boring. So current 4. Okay, so I'm assuming that you will warm up. So if experience is about 6 to 8 as an average, now just for me to get an understanding of what are the industries that you are part of: automobile, telecom, IT, ITES, which industry are you part of? It will be good if some of you can unmute and speak. Nisha from events. Okay. Yeah, what's the industry that you're part of? IT, ITES, telecom, retail. Hello guys, are you there? Yasser from IT, okay. Banking, IT. Nimesh, Manish, Karan, thank you. I see about 30 of us, assuming some of them are from HRAI, at least 30 of us as participants. It will be good if we can engage and share. Chirag, IT. Okay. Neha, management consulting, interesting. Good to see some diversity there. Abhishek from retail. Good. Hi, Abhishek. Prakash from travel. Interesting. Keep them coming. Management consulting, retail, travel, IT. Any more industries? Even if it is from industries that are already mentioned, please put in. Okay. Fair enough. My request for you will be to, okay, Kamal from FMCG, that's good. Request for you is to keep engaging. Put in your comments, unmute yourself and speak, put yourself on video and speak. Anything is great. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. Great. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. If you can confirm either through chat or through unmute yourself. Yes, yes. Okay. Thanks, Nisha, Peterson, Prakash. Okay, great. So I'm calling the session as Career Trek. I'm calling it as self-help management tool. Are there any lovers of trekking here? Anyone who has gone on a trek? If you have gone on a trek, say yes. Okay, now this is a different poll. Okay, Yasser has gone on a trek. Prakash has gone on a trek. Okay, great. So all of us have gone on a trek at some point or the other. Now, why am I calling career as a trek? Any guesses? Anyone who would like to share? I'm calling career as a trek. It's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not a ladder. It's not a lattice that people talk about. I'm calling it as a trek. Anyone who would like to share your views on why I'm calling it as a trek? You can put in even in the chat as well. Okay, you can move at your own pace. That's what Nisha says. Yes, agree with you. We climb upwards, have to learn new skills to survive, says Yasser. Yes. Climbing in career is similar to trekking, says Tushar. Yes. Did I miss someone? I think, yeah, Prakash said, because as track, our career must go up. Okay, agree with you. So, but there's a difference between a ladder and a trek. What's the difference? Ladder also you climb up. There are steps and then you go on to the first step, second step, go on, so on. And there is a trek where you climb a mountain. From the base, you reach a peak. What's the difference between a ladder and a mountain trek? I'm hoping for some responses in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and speak. Is there a difference between climbing a ladder and climbing a mountain? Lots of challenges in trekking. Yes, of course. Any more responses? Fantastic, fantastic. I love these responses. Prakash says we need to build our path by our own. Very interesting, Prakash. You know, on a mountain, there's something called as a trail, right? And if you go to a mountain, it's not about one path that you take from the base to the peak. There are multiple paths to the same peak, right? So there are multiple trails. And there are some paths which are taken by more people, some paths which are taken by less people, and some paths people create on their own. They create their own trail, right? Very beautifully said, Prakash. We need to build our own path. Yasser, ladder is more monotonous, can be calculated. Trekking, on the other hand, is a different experience. We may or may not know what's coming. Yes. Ladder is very predictable. And these days, careers are not so predictable, right? There's a lot of ambiguity and so on and so forth. And the very old question that people ask, what do you want to be 5 years from now? I bet 90% of the people will get their predictions wrong, right? Do you agree with me? You let me know in the chat. Because this question of what do you want to be 5 years from now, 5 years is way too long in the current times. And if I've made my plan for 5 years, then I'm limiting myself. You know, yeah, thanks, Asir. So I have an interesting approach. When it comes to goal setting, I call this as bullseye goal setting and a compass goal setting. Okay, so let me write it for you. Right, I'm calling it bullseye vis-a-vis compass. Right, bullseye is about being very, very sharp in my goal setting. I'll say, okay, I want to be a vice president in 7 years in Bangalore with a software company with a CTC of so much, right? That's a bullseye kind of goal setting. I'm very, very clear on what I want, by when I want, etc., etc. And all of us would have heard about SMART goal setting. But unfortunately, with careers, that can become very limiting, right? You ask a Rajnikant what he wanted to be in 5 years when he was a conductor is a very different story. And we discover path as we go along. And that's what I call it as a compass goal setting. I have a direction of where I want to go, of what kind of roles I want to do, etc., etc. And then I keep progressing, right? So if you ask me which is better, I will definitely say compass goal setting is better. Compass goal setting is something that will open you up to unlimited possibilities. With bullseye goal setting, whatever you aim for is what you get. With compass goal setting, you might achieve much, much more than what you actually set your goal for, right? So when it comes to career as a trek, there are multiple reasons, right? Because see, for a mountain, you can climb, there are multiple peaks to a mountain. Each peak has a different view. From each direction, you get a very different view for the mountain. The view that you get, some parts may be rocky, some parts may be muddy. Each track is different. The view that you get is different, so on and so forth. And I liken our career journeys as a trek, because each one of us travel at our own pace, right? Not all of us want to retire at 40. Not all of us want to become, want to start our own companies. Not all of us want a CEO position, right? Each one of us seek different things from our careers, and each one of us progress at our own pace. And we have our own strengths, so on and so forth. So our career journeys are, as unique as we are, and as unique as, take any two resumes, and you will know that the journeys are not the same. Even they would have passed out of from LKG till about MBA, they would have studied in the same college, same bench, all of that. But after that, their journeys are very different. Compare them 10 years later, their journeys would have been very, very different. It's definitely not the same, right? So have you heard of this Bani World? Yeah. Okay. Have you heard of VUCA? Anyone has heard of VUCA? Yes. Okay. Nisha, would you like to share VUCA? What is VUCA? What does VUCA stand for? Even if you know one of them, you can go ahead and share. What is VUCA? What does V stand for? What does U stand for? Okay, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, right? So our world is very, very dynamic, fast-paced, changing, right? If you look at how our fathers' careers were, our grandfathers' careers were, or even grandmothers' careers were, their careers were more stable. You could join a company, work in that company for 30, 35 years and then retire, right? That's how careers were. And now careers are very, very different, because the times that we live in are very, very different. People would change roles after 6 years, 7 years. Now we want to change roles in 2 years, 1 year, and so on and so forth. That's because of the nature of the world, how we are progressing, right? So pre-COVID, we used to call as VUCA world, and then COVID really told us how VUCA really be, right? Very, very volatile. Every day things were changing, etc. So now we progressed from VUCA world to Bani world, right? So Bani, as you can see on the screen, it's brittle, as in things can change very fast, right? What is working today, need not work tomorrow, right? If you remember the transition from people made transition from using typewriters to computers, Now it's even very, very different. Now we are talking about generative AI, right? How many of you have heard about generative AI? Have you heard about the term generative AI? Not heard. Okay. Have you heard about Chat GPT? Yes. Yeah. So if you have not tried Chat GPT, please try it. If you haven't understood about generative AI, please please go ahead, please explore, please understand, because generative AI is the future, right? You will see generative AI playing a role in each and every career. It doesn't matter which field, which function, which industry you are in, generative AI is going to play a role, right? And you will be very, very surprised if I tell you the PPT that I am using right now, the PPT that you are seeing right now is something that is created by Chat GPT. This is created by AI. Okay. I took about 10 minutes in terms of editing the PPT, but the core PPT to me came by through ChatGPT, right? So you can imagine the kind of maturity that AI solutions are getting into, right? So that's being brittle. So if someone who has a career saying that I make beautiful PPTs, thank you very much. That AI is doing now, right? So then the person has to. It doesn't mean that the job is gone. It means that the job need to evolve to a higher level, right? So brittle, things change very, very fast. Anxious, because things change very fast. You're always on the toes. You're always on the move. Things can change anytime, and stress levels are high, activity levels are high. It's like you're always on an upward slope. You're always trying to catch up. What is the next thing? What is the next skill I need to gain? So on and so forth. And non-linear. It's not about non-linear. If I give you an example for non-linear, I don't know how many of you have heard about this story where they said chocolate candies business, which is the 1 rupee, 2 rupees chocolates that you get at the local kirana stores. The chocolates candy business nose dived. It came down because of UPI, right? Because earlier in the day, when you go to your kirana shop, then he has to give change of 2 rupees. He'll give you 2 chocolates instead of 2 rupees, and that's how chocolates used to be, sell a lot, right? And after UPI came in, people have started transferring the exact amount. So there is no need for change. There used to be big boards of, please bring exact change. And now there is no requirement of it. People are transferring money through, UPI. So suddenly the chocolates business, the candy business, that has come down because there's no need for change. Now they have to come up with a new model, right? So I'm quite sure people in candy business, they would not have thought that UPI is going to disrupt their business in any way, but it has done. That's what we call as non-linear, right? Your competition can be from anywhere. Your growth can be to any place, right? No longer people are saying that okay, you have worked so many years in one industry, so you have to stay in that industry. No, you can switch industries. No, you can switch roles, right? You are in HR, you can get into marketing. You're in marketing, you can get into service, you can get into sales, you can get into analytics, right? So people do courses in data science and they switch, and all sorts of things can happen, right? So, and last, incomprehensible. So if I throw you terms, right? Like I said, I put generative AI, and then I put blockchain, then I put NFT, right? AI, right? So you put all of these terms, and then suddenly, how many of us know all these terms? Right? So all of us may not know all of these terms, because and there are new technologies that are coming up, as we go on, as we move forward, right? So all of these changes, the pace at which these things are happening, we need to evolve, and we need to keep pace with times. Okay, so that's what the Bani world is all about, right? Is it making sense? Do you relate to this? Put in your comment in the chat. How would you describe the changes happening around you? VUCA, Bani, right? Okay. If you have nothing to say, you can put a thumbs up. I can give a comment, so I'll understand that you're with me, you're following me. Are you there, guys? Okay. Good. How can the difference be showcased in terms of VUCA, Bani, Rup, Tuna as we move forward, which is more correlative? Yeah, so Peterson, these terms will keep evolving, and you will have new terms that keep coming. But the bottom of all of these terms is primarily to say that we are in an ever-changing world, right? Change is the only constant, and to say that change is the only constant, we have these new terms that keep coming up. But if your question is, if I'm getting your question, it's more about us being agile and being open, so that we are able to adapt to these changes. Okay. So what questions do we have about our careers? Now, we are 38 of us. I'm hopeful that we'll get at least 10 questions. Please put in your chat, what is it, that question that you have in your mind about your careers? Not necessarily a question, a statement or a state of mind. When you think about your career journey, your career next step, so on and so forth, what questions come to you? Please put in your questions in the chat. What are the questions that come to you about your career? Okay. Will I be relevant in future is a question that Tushar is asking. What all things I would have to learn is what Yasser is asking. Am I heading in the right direction? Good question, Faisal. Keep them coming. Is reskilling the only way forward? Okay. Keep them coming, keep them coming. This is the best part of the session. I would love to hear what all questions you have. Keep going, keep going. There's no right or wrong question. It's about what you have in your mind. What questions do you have? When you think about your career journey, what questions do you have in your mind? Okay. I'm sure we'll have more people who are coming in with questions. You can keep typing in the questions as we start our discussion. So will I be relevant in the future? This is a question that Tushar has. Yes, I will be relevant in future as long as I keep, reinventing myself. Right? Just now, because I said this PPT is made by ChatGPT. So if someone has a career of making PPTs, then the person needs to evolve. Otherwise, the person will become irrelevant. So that ties back with a question that Peterson asked: is reskilling the only way forward? So if PPT making was your skill and that skill is getting automated or normalized by technology, then you need to reskill yourself, and that's how you need to scale up, right? So what all things I would have to learn? Okay, so I would like you to stay with this question because we will get to that question and I'll answer that question in the next couple of slides. What all you will have to learn? To Faisal's question of, am I heading in the right direction? That's also a question that you can answer yourself, and I'll shortly address some of these questions. Okay, so in the meanwhile, we got about 5 questions and there are about 30 more of us. If you have any questions that crop up, please drop in and we'll respond to those questions. Okay, so what are the areas on which I'll have questions? Common questions will be about my growth, right? And some of those questions were, am I relevant? How will I grow? What do I need to do for growth? And Peterson, you asked about upskilling, right? And I think Tushar, you asked about, will I be relevant? What is the right industry should I be in? I'm right now in manufacturing industry. Is it good? Should I move to IT, or is IT the only industry that one will survive in or thrive in? Right. So should I be in a new age industry? There's a new industry around Bitcoin, NFTs, so on and so forth. Should I get into that industry at all? So which industry should I get in? Which role should I get in? I would be keen to know what roles you are in. HR, marketing, finance. You can drop in the chat as to what is the role that you are in, right? And should I change my role? Should I stay in HR? Should I move to marketing? Should I change industries? Should I upskill myself? And these are the questions. And like Faisal said, am I in the right direction? Should I switch industry? Should I switch roles? Am I happy with the growth? Ironically, I'll be happy with the growth. I'll be so happy till I see another person who is growing faster than me. So that's what we call as FOMO. I don't know how many of you have heard that term FOMO, right? Have you heard the term FOMO? Anyone who knows what FOMO is? Type in the chat, FOMO. Yeah, so explain what FOMO is. Yeah, fear of missing out. Yeah. Because I feel, yeah, so someone else is doing a particular course. Suddenly my mind starts thinking, oh my God, that seems to be the course. I'm not doing that course, right? Someone has gone to XLRI and got some certificate. And then I'm like, oh my God, I have not done this certificate. I need to get the certificate. So there's always someone is attending a conference. Oh my God, I'm not attending conference, right? So this fear of missing out, and this largely is due to comparisons, etc., right? So for all these questions that we may have, these are the answers that I suggest. What we should look for is understanding more about self. So what I believe in is, if I'm clear about what I want, then I'm less troubled by comparisons around me. And that's what this self-discovery will help me all about, right? We look at career anchors, we'll understand career paths, we look at what are our aspirations, and then arrive at what is that career recipe, what is my career way forward journey be. Okay, so that will answer most of the questions that many of you have. right? Starting with career anchors. And if you can see, there are, 8 career anchors, right? So this is work done by a gentleman called Edgar Sheen. He recently passed away. Work done by a psychologist called Edgar Sheen. He did research and tried to understand what people really like, right? And what people, what is the kind of jobs that people like? Some people like to get into a lot of detailing. Some people would like to do, overall management, right? And some people want very, very secure jobs. So what is it that people seek, from their jobs is what this career anchors is all about, right? I'll talk about it in very brief. Okay, technical competence. So if you are someone who likes to go deep, specialize, and understand particular technology, or specialize in fields, etc., then you are someone who has your anchor is high around technical functional. You like R&D kind of jobs, you like solving things, etc., etc. General management is someone who likes. So if you are, and there are tests that you can take. There is a career anchor test that's available online. You can take the career anchor test. And if you need help figuring out where to take the test, please write to me on LinkedIn. I'll share with you. General management, if your career anchor is high on this, then you are someone who loves managing things, not necessarily getting into details, but loves managing things. Okay. High on autonomy. High on autonomy is someone who loves freedom. If you micromanage, then this person will just not work at all, right? So he's someone who likes a lot of freedom. Okay. Then security, stability, someone who loves big brands, wants to stay. And these are the people whom you will see, staying, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years with one organization, even in the current times. Someone who is very high on entrepreneurial activity. This is one person who will always like new projects and gets bored very easily. So he'll be like, every 3 months he wants a new project, every 6 months he wants a new project, and that new thing is what energizes, this particular individual. Service. People who want to do service to society. People get excited by, if the job, they love being in social sector, they love doing things that contribute to, they're looking for, how is my role, helping society? And if it is, then that really motivates them. Pure challenge, someone, who loves challenges, who loves solving problems. They're not bothered about designation. They're not bothered about, so much about hierarchy, all of those things. All they want is, give me challenges, I want to solve challenges. Okay, lifestyle, someone who likes work-life balance, not really fully packed schedules. They're like, no, I want my family time, I want my reading time, myself time, and then office time. So what we need to really reflect on as we plan our career track is to figure out, what is our career anchor? What is it that I'm really looking for in my career? What kind of a role will I really enjoy, right? If I'm someone who loves general management and you put me in a technical role, I'll not enjoy that, right? I'm someone who loves autonomy, who loves independence, but you put me in a role where I have to follow a lot of processes, then that's not the job for me. I want freedom. I enjoy freedom. Okay. So you've seen the career anchors, right? And just out of curiosity, can you identify what you think is your career anchor? You can just put in the chat what you think is your primary career anchor. Of course, there are psychometric tools that can help you do that, and I'll share the links where you can take that assessment. But for now, if you can put in the chat, what do you think is your career anchor? Yeah, I'll just wait for a couple of comments to come. What do you think is your career anchor? Okay. Yasser is saying entrepreneur creativity. Okay. Waiting for responses from others. There's no right or wrong, guys. Just go ahead and put in what basis whatever I've explained, what comes to you as your career anchor. Have you heard about this concept, career anchor? How many of you have heard about career anchor before? Okay, once you heard a couple of years back. Okay. Okay, great. So career anchors is one of the elements that we that's one of the criteria. Once I have figured out my career anchor, then the next step that you look for is what's the kind of career path that I want. And these are 4 types of career paths. You have a linear career path where you keep growing, leveling up. And then you have a spiral career path which moves in this direction. And then you have a steady state career path, and you have a transitory career path. Okay. Now, I'll give you an example, then probably you can tell me what kind of a career path is this. Okay. We have someone who has joined in sales department, who has joined as a sales trainee, then became a sales executive, then became a sales manager, then became a regional sales manager, area sales manager, sales, regional sales head and national sales head. That has been the career journey. Now, what kind of career path do you think this person has followed among these 4? Can you just put in the chat, what kind of career path is this? Linear, perfect, Prakash. Yeah, it is linear career path because the person is just growing in terms of power and status, and the path is just growing up in the hierarchy that way. Okay. Similarly, so for example, let me take a transitory. Let me give you another example. Okay, this person who has started his career as a management trainee, worked in sales for about 2 years, then moved into merchandising, then moved into marketing, then moved into quality, then moved into a business head role, and then became a CEO. What kind of a career path do you think that is? Is that linear, spiral, steady state, transitory? What kind of a career path that is? A management trainee to a sales to quality to different roles. Spiral. It is spiral, right? Spiral is that career path. Okay, so not necessarily going up, right? And what happens is when someone who is in a linear path, you will go ahead and get stuck at some point. It's like someone who is into sales, and then gets stuck as sales head, and only keeps moving organizations as sales head, but never really gets that COE role or a CEO role. Why he doesn't get a CEO role? Because he lacks variety in the career path. And how do you get that variety in the career path? You get that by doing different roles. not just by being in one particular domain and one particular, industry, one kind of role. When you do multiple roles, when you do multiple industries, you gain into this spiral path. Okay, so that's what it is about. And steady state expert is about having dual careers, right? It's something like I spent about 8 years in IT industry, and then I spent about 8 years in retail industry. Then it's more like steady state, right? How about transitory? Can someone give an example of transitory? You want to put in a chat? What can be a transitory kind of path? Good to see you, Chintan. I love when people interact. What can be a transitory? Just put in the chat. What can be a transitory kind of path? I'll wait for 5 seconds and then move forward. What can be a transitory kind of path? Okay, so moves from junior role to senior role so many times, someone who grew along junior to executive level. Okay, so transitory is about people who have portfolio careers. Okay, I'll put this term for you. I'm putting in a lot of terms for you so that even if you want, you can Google up these terms and then you can do more research and get more insights. Portfolio career is about having different kinds of careers. Okay, someone who is a wildlife photographer for 3-4 years, then became a yoga trainer, then got into painting, then got into journalism, then got into acting, then moved into news anchoring. Right? All these are careers pretty much at an individual level, right? And that's what we call gig work and so on. So not necessarily that they'll have large teams to manage and so they lead large organizations, but they're gig workers and they move from one skill set to another skill set to another skill set, and that's how they transition in their careers. Okay. Now a question for you. When you look back at your career, what is the kind of career that you have had? Has your career growth been linear, spiral, steady state, transitory? What kind of career have you had? Put in the chat. Okay, I'm waiting for responses. You said, many of you said you have 4 years experience, 6, 8, 10. If you look back at your careers, what kind of career path has that been? Has that been linear? Has that been spiral? Okay. Yasser says transitory. Very interesting, Yasser. If you can put in what kind of careers you have done, if you're comfortable, great. Unmute yourself and speak, even more better, fantastic. But I would like to hear from others as well. What kind of career path has yours been? And this is where when I say career trek and a self-help management tool is you're figuring out for yourself as to what is your career path. Okay, Yasser, you've done recruitment, resource management, appraisals, event management. Wow, great. Okay, that's a very diverse profile. I would say that you are tending towards spiral, though you're calling yourself transitory. I think that's a good set of experiences for you. If you slightly design your career, make your choices right, that's a great path to be a business leader, to be a P&L leader. Okay. So great. So how about others? I've heard only from Yasir. Others, what kind of career path has yours been? And if I'm talking about managing my own career, then I need to decide for myself what kind of career path I want, and then I need to have the right conversations with my with my organization, with my reporting managers. I need to invest in myself accordingly so that I can choose the career path I want, and then I take. Why am I calling it self-help? Is because um, all of us may not be in large organizations where there is a talent management team who is planning the career for you. Many of us work in smaller organizations and we need to plan for our careers ourselves. And this is how you plan your career. You figure out what are your career anchors. Then you decide whether I should, take a very specialized path or should I generalize, right? Should I take a linear, should I choose a linear career path? Should I choose a spiral career path? What kind of a career path? And then plan it out, right? And how do I plan it out? My planning has to be based on my aspiration, right? Like I said, all of us don't want to retire by 40, don't want to be CEOs by 50, don't want to start companies, become entrepreneurs by 30, right? Each one of us have different aspirations, right? What is my interest? What is my passion? What is my appetite, right? Those things is what this is all about, right? My aspiration quotient in line with what is my ability and my career preferences, which is your career anchors, career path choices. Each together with these is how you carve your career. Okay, so having said this, we spoke about how do we manage our careers. So what is it that we need to look for while planning for our careers? Some of those assessments, if you want, I'll share you the links. But while we do this, what are the career pitfalls that we should avoid? Okay, I'll come to this slide in a bit. What are the career pitfalls that we should avoid? Let me come back to you and ask you, what do you think are some of the mistakes that people do in their career planning? Okay, great, Tushar, choosing a wrong role. Okay, it happens. There are times where you pick a role that's not yours, that's not your liking. Right? And if you pick a role that's not right for you, you won't enjoy in the role, you won't perform better, and then you won't grow. So that tends to happen. That's a pitfall. What are the other pitfalls? What are the other mistakes that people make in their careers? The one common mistake I have come across people make is saying that I'll do my job. It's up to my manager to recognize my performance. Is that right or wrong? I'm thinking to myself, saying my job is to do my job, and recognizing my job, identifying my potential, and working for it, giving me promotion, growth, etc. is my manager's job. How many of you agree with that statement? Okay, I'm getting some more comments. Choosing work in which the person don't have interest, that's again, that's a wrong role. That's again not healthy. So that's something that we should avoid. Okay, chasing competition over growth opportunities. That's again chasing compensation over growth opportunities. I think we should look for compensation. Yeah, you should always prioritize growth over compensation, because when you grow, compensation automatically catches up. But if compensation grows, there's no guarantee that the growth will catch up with you. I see Faisal on screen. That's an indication for me that my time is running up. So let me go to the last thought that I had in terms of capturing. I think some of you asked this question: what do I need to do? How do I need to upskill myself? This is what I would say. A, B, C, D, E is something that you need to definitely have. Whether you are in VUCA world, Bunny world, whichever world, this is something that you should definitely have. Okay. So anti-fragility, you must Google up this term. In short form, I can say it's about it's like our muscles. When you put more pressure on the muscles gain strength. The muscle becomes strong, right? Similarly, we should become anti-fragile. With all the changes happening around us, we should thrive with the change that comes around us. Business acumen, whichever business we are in. I might be in legal, I might be in HR, I might be in administration, but it's important for me to know how my business is doing. Okay. Communication is a skill that all of us should definitely have. Digital mindset, a mindset of adopting all the new technologies, like we spoke about. That's definitely something that we should have. Empathy, this is a basic skill that all of us should have to be able to work with a lot of people, right? Individual contributor jobs are very less. Even in the individual contributor jobs, you need to work with people. So these are 5 skills, I think, that are timeless, and this will be helpful for us, at all times. So these are the skills that I would recommend for people to go through and gain. Okay, here I'll stop sharing. I'll leave it to Faisal to decide in terms of taking questions and amount of time we have, so on and so forth.
Thank you, Mr. Ram. So before we move into the Q&A session, we will be initiating the poll. Request all the participants to kindly share your feedback. While doing so, request all the participants to post their questions in the chat window. Once again, I thank all our participants for joining our session today. We have received a lot of inquiry about the e-certificate offered by HRAI. You can claim your certificate by sharing your details, name, and session attended in an email to the email ID provided in the chat window. Please ensure you do this by end of this month. We will email the e-certificates to you based on the details received. Mr. Ram, we have received some of the questions from the registrations. I would just like to go one by one. The first question is, how can we keep ourselves relevant all the time? And how can we forecast the kind of skills and competencies which will be required in the future?
I think one needs to keep pace with the trend. There are a lot of, what do you say? You will get a lot of trend if you are active on social media, be part of conferences, be part of events. You will get to hear a lot of new terms in every conference, and you will feel like I'm hearing a lot of the same. But that's how you will that's how you will sink in with what's coming up and what are the latest trends. And networking is very important. Attending conferences, attending events, reading up industry magazines, etc. Those are the key for you to understand what are the trends. And skills, like I said, I have mentioned A, B, C, D, E. I think those skills are good enough. But for you to understand what are those specific functional skills, you should be a part of industry forums. A thumb rule that I keep is meet 2 new people from my industry, from my domain every month. And when you meet two new people, you will get to understand, interact, engage, and you will know more. If you are limited to your own circle, you may not learn anything new. But if you interact with two new people every month, keep that as a routine, and you don't have to do anything else. Just have two conversations with two new people every month, and you will be up to date. Just like by having a couple of conversations over chai, you will be up to date with all the office gossip. The same logic applies here.
Thank you, Mr. Ram. That's true. We'll go with the second question, that is, what kind of threats and opportunities will be posed by AI 5 years down the line?
Very good question. No one knows an answer for it. And if someone is giving an answer, the person is just telling you a story. So, but you can prepare for it. You can prepare for it by embracing AI and not by fearing about AI. So if you have not used ChatGPT, if you have not used generative AI, if you haven't done enough courses around it, then you're waiting for someone else to dictate terms to you. But read for yourself, go for yourself.
Thank you, Ram. The third question and last question, that is, being an HR manager, how do I do talent management to ensure that we always have availability of suitable talent pool in the organization?
Yeah, there are pretty standard talent management frameworks. So the key for you is assess the aspiration quotient in the organization. Identify high points, assess the aspiration quotient, and institute programs where you institute career development programs. Year-long, 18 months kind of career development programs. So whenever new roles are opening up, there are always ready talent in the pipeline. So having journey programs of 12 months to 18 months is the key for you in terms of building that talent pipeline, also providing opportunities to everyone along the way.
Thank you, Mr. Ram, for answering all our questions so precisely. And thank you for this insightful and intriguing session. It has been a pleasure being with you today. I'm sure our participants had a lot to learn and take away from this session. Before we conclude with today's session, we would also want to thank our event partners, Geisha, NASSCOM COE, LinkedIn Local, Talgrow, TLE, and WICCI for supporting these HRAI events. To know more about them, request you to kindly visit the link provided in the chat window. Thank you once again, dear speaker and our participants, for joining us today. Do join us for our next masterclass by Ms. Deepika Singh, speaker and digital content creator, life skills and motivation from SheMeansBusiness.co on the topic 10 tips to create bigger, stronger network on 26th of April 2023 at 3 p.m. That's it from our today's webinar. See you soon. Stay safe. Take care and bye for now. Thank you, Mr. Ram. Thank you for the session.
Thank you, Faisal. Thank you, Neha, if you're around. Bye.
Bye.